All right. All right. Cut the jibba jabba. My name is Professor Jerk, and you are in Trainables. Kléber 201. That's right, we've moved on to a more advanced class for this ship because with its recent adjustments, it is pretty much a new ship that requires a different approach. Not entirely different, but different enough that we need to re-examine things. And it's not entirely different with the commander setup, but more of how you play. So here is my commander setup and modules, and if you've seen my previous videos, then all of this looks exactly the same, except for one small difference. We've removed Perceptive and put on Torpedo Safari. And that is really the big choice for most players here. Will you focus on this being more of a gunboat or more of a torpedo boat? Whereas before it really was the best of all worlds, there is a lot to be said now that if you want torpedoes, why not take out the Shimakaze or the Gearing? And if you want guns, why not just take out the Khabarovsk? It does have the same torpedo range after all, and Khabarovsk has smoke or a heal. So why Kléber? And that is a good question. What does it excel at now? Well, the guns are still very, very good with a very good penetration, and the torpedoes still hit very, very hard, just with, 25% less range? And so, for me, the guns, they don't need a fixin'. It is the torpedoes that need a fixin'. And with Torpedo Safari, I can get my torpedoes out to 7 kilometers. And while that 1 kilometer doesn't sound like a huge difference, it essentially halves the nerf our sweet baby was given at the expense of no more RPF. And for some people, that is going to be a scary proposition. Knowing where the closest target is to you is no doubt a huge benefit, and giving that up raises the skill floor on this ship by about 13 stories. But I stand before you today to say you don't need it. At least not in standard battles, because you have built-in RPF. It is that voice in your head that says, there's probably a destroyer over there. And that's not your spider senses tingling, that is your common sense. And your common sense is greatly empowered by reading the minimap and being able to infer all the information you need by what you see and also what you don't. So what does that look like? Well, if you look at the minimap, there are 4 destroyers in this game. The Gearing was down here and was rather unceremoniously yoinked from me. There is a 2-man division of Shimas which spawned at B, one of them was sunk, and a Khabarovsk which we can infer spawned down at A. What else can we infer? Well, half of that red Shima division is sunk and the other was last spotted on the far side of the island. They aren't contesting B, so it seems like it would be a rather uncommon move for them to swing around the far side of the island and come this way rather than go and support A with the rest of their team. So with that knowledge in mind, we are headed to B to set up a defensive line because that's where the battle will be decided. We're only 4 minutes into this game, and we know where it's going to end. So while we make a beeline to B, how did all of that sound? Not too bad, I imagine. And for those of you around long enough, you'll remember when this ship first came out, it didn't have Perceptive or Twist and Track, and even all the way back then I said, oh baby, this ship is very good, but my concern is that they will nerf the ship because they can't buff the player base. And it looks like I was right. So my concern now is that Ouija has essentially squeezed the middle of the toothpaste tube. Inexperienced players are going to struggle mightily in Kléber. Very experienced players are still going to do great, and the average player will just recognize that they will struggle with it and play anything else, most likely a Shima. And the unfortunate aspect about that is now the stats will say Kléber is doing okay, and really, it isn't. It is a ship with no purpose, and that's unfortunate because I agree before it was too good. But the reason it was too good is because our concealment system is broken, and because the torpedo reload is too fast. Does nerfing the Kléber fix either of those things? No, you can still get your Shima under 5 kilometers of detection, only now there is practically no ship that can show up out of nowhere and immediately gun you down. And having these 6-kilometer torps that still reload at an insane pace, well, that's not going to stop you from torping a Groza Kerfers that is just unaware that you're even there. It'll be interesting to see how many Kléber rentals are out there when it becomes available, because it certainly seems like the Shima show to me, at least in the matches that I am playing. And yeah, I do have to get off the base to torp this GK, which I wouldn't have had to have done before with my 8-kilometer torps, but I have to do this because they're moving into a position to crossfire my teammate that's up to the north, who is chasing those 2 red battleships, and also because it's only a matter of time before a red ship from A shows up here, and I can't be getting into a gunfight if a Groza Kerfer secondaries are just going to be hammering me the entire time. Especially if that destroyer is a Khabarovsk, which is what will most likely be here because it is the fastest ship on the red team. So, let me just get turned around here, guns rotated to where I expect the red ships to be coming from. I mean, I suppose it's possible they could waste their time by sailing all the way around the island and surprise me on the side where my guns aren't, but the odds are that they are going to come in a straight line onto the cap. This is, after all, standard battles, and with me being located right now, I can almost be certain that they will be coming straight at me. Now, it's true, it could be the Shima, so I have to play at least a little bit conservatively, so you can see I'm backing up to put this middle island between me in case it is the Shima and they want to flood the area with torps. Now, they may think it's the Amagi behind me, but clearly they're not on the cap, so they know, whoever it is, that there is the only remaining destroyer on their red team is on this cap. So while the Shima has the benefit of perceptive, a smokescreen, long-range, hard-hitting torpedoes, a Khabarovsk twist and track smokescreen or heel, very good armor and just as capable torpedoes, or a gearing with smoke, long-range torpedoes, twist and track, and recently buffed guns, the Kléber just has to sit here and calculate the odds with minimal effectiveness as far as ship features go. I mean, what does it have? It doesn't have smoke, it doesn't have a heel, it doesn't have long-range torpedoes, and it doesn't have perceptive. All it has is speed and the captain behind the wheel. That is a lot to process. And it is a lot to be taking into consideration when playing this game. And that's why I don't feel like Kléber is in the right place in Wowzels. On PC, there's another gimmick they have where they have unconventional hulls and parts of the ship's HP can be reduced to 0 and they will take no damage when hit in those areas, but we don't have that. So with our Kléber, if you use Perceptive, your torps can be effective in a YOLO rush sort of way, which is a reliable way to have fun, but not a reliable way to carry your team. And your guns, while still being very good, you're limited to only 1 main battery reload booster. So the Fantastic has superior torpedoes now, but worse guns. So why not give this a 2nd main battery reload booster? I don't know. I can't claim to know, but all of this keeps pushing the skill floor higher and higher in this ship. I think this Khabarovsk must be using a target acquisition module, so I'm trying to use this island to keep them from being able to shoot me, but also keep their battleships from being able to shoot me. But there is the Shimakaze, so let's try and get a shot out on that. And my concern here is that this Khabarovsk will just rush out here and YOLO me. Now, the Khabarovsk is the one gunboat that I fear in the Kléber. They do have less health than me, but, I don't want to risk it. So what I'm trying to do right here is sow a little confusion into that Khabarovsk. I'm going to send some torps that way in case the Bismarck goes through. I'm going to act like I'm going out this way and flanking around, and then I'm going to stop. And I'm going to try and bait this Khabarovsk out to see what's happening. Or to at least shoot their torps. So we stop right here, and we're going to reverse. And will the Khabarovs come out on the back of the island? Oh, there they are. One shot, switch over to AP, excuse me, because they have that nice chonky hole. And we'll get this one off, and that's going to take care of the Khabarovs here. You'll notice I saved my damage control until they were actually sunk. And now we're just going to get another spin around and get back to where we were before, because I still want to be in that particular position where I'm using 2 pieces of land to block the direction that torpedoes can come from, but still be able to spot for my team. So one thing we do know right now is that the Shimakaze does not have Perceptive on either, or I would be located because I am pushed so far forward. Whoa, there are these stealth technology Khabarovs torps. But yeah, they do not have Twist and Track or Perceptive on because I am not located, and I am most definitely the closest thing to them right now. And so right here, I'm trying to see, is this the Bismarck on the cap? I don't think it is, because I would be able to spot them right now. Yeah, they are not on the cap, so we know the Shima is, so I'm moving to get the island to block the Bismarck from being able to shoot me there too. And there is the Shima. And we'll get some guns off. And we can see the guns on here are still just as great as they always were. Right over through there. And I believe, yeah, there we go. That gets the Shima. I mean, this match is essentially over right now. Bismarck's fling. Let's get one more loop through here, and we will get some torpedoes off and wrap this one up. So my point to all this, and I know it's going to sound funny, but the Kléber, it's just not as easy to play as any of the other destroyers. Not Shimakaze, not Gearing, not Khabarovsk. So to me, something about that just feels wrong. The rewards in this ship, well, they aren't any higher with it being more difficult. It seems like if the ship is going to be more difficult, then the rewards you get, and I'm not talking silver, I'm talking like, I don't know, how awesome your game is, your damage, whatever. It just seems like it should be higher than any of those other ships can do, because it is the hardest destroyer to play at the tier now. So, all you're going to have to do is be forced to carry harder and heavier in this as opposed to any of the other destroyers, except maybe Geary. Saved by the bell. So, 3,444 XP for a very good game, and really, it could have been a 6-pack, so not all that different than before, but just much more effort required to do so, and that's fine. It just seems like maybe the other destroyers should require that much effort too, like maybe a detectability nerf. Anyway, as always, this class is pass-fail. Hit like to pass, hit dislike to fail. Questions, comments, come see me in my office hours down below. And if you want to reserve your seat in class next semester, you can go ahead and sign up by hitting subscribe. Thanks for watching, folks. I will get back out there for another one soon, and we will talk then.